Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and today I want to chat with you guys a little bit about something that pretty much came from Jason Robson over at Unbreakable Strength. He posts here regularly. He's got a good channel. Another guy I like and respect out there, and there aren't many on YouTube Fitness, to be honest. He's one of the very few. And we interact positively, but he's like me, guy in his 40s, still killing it, still lifting heavy ass weight and not beat up and hurt. And he kind of pointed out with this whole global situation, he's like, yeah, everyone who's serious about strength has just sailed through all this stuff. We're not seeing anyone getting sick or dying or being hospitalized who is serious about strength. Now, there's some bodybuilders who are. Bodybuilders are not necessarily the same thing, are they? And we know that. Let's come over to the point. We know, based upon all the literature out there, that strong people are in general harder to kill. Okay? People who strength train, and I mean strength train. I don't mean you go in and you play on a machine for your arms a couple times a week. I'm talking about people who get under some heavy weights. Even could be your grandma. Could be your grandma. Like I have an aunt who's 67 and deadlifts 275. Squats 250. She doesn't get sick either. At age 67. We need to have a talk about strength and longevity and immunity. Right? People who strength train have better immune systems. We have tremendously better bone density. I mean, I've already discussed all the cardiovascular stuff, the cancer stuff. We've talked about that in detail. That is documented in the scientific literature. Okay, period. If you lift weights and you lift weights hard, you're dramatically cutting your chances of heart attack, cancers, everything else. We know this. Now, does that mean that's going to offset guys who are using $50,000 a year worth of PEDs? No. Is that going to offset a guy being 400 pounds? No, because it seems like every time I bring this up, people always want to bring up World's Strongest Man competitors or something like that. It's like, well, that has nothing to do with strength training. Okay? Those are guys who have bulked to enormous, ridiculous body weights, whose drug bill probably exceeds your actual salary. That's not the same thing. Stop using those examples. If you use those examples, you are an idiot with a low IQ, and you really shouldn't be entitled to an opinion or talk at all. You should just shut up. Because you sound really stupid. You really do, guys, when you do that. Talking about the actual training, not eating 15,000 calories a day and using 10 grams of testosterone a week. That's not the same thing as strength training. If you don't understand that, you're stupid. Okay? You're a really stupid person. So let's come back over and talk about strength training. The literature is pretty overwhelming. But it does affect immune system. Okay? It does affect immune system. And we're not talking about people with compromised kidneys from bodybuilding. We're not talking about people who diet down ultra lean, because being 8% body fat compromises your immune system, doesn't it? Again, we're not talking about getting ripped. And I've said that repeatedly. Being ultra lean, ridiculously lean, isn't good for your health. It will hurt you. I don't care how good you think it looks. That isn't strength training either. Just like competing in the World's Strongest Man is not the same thing as strength training. Being emaciated and 7% body fat is not strength training. Now, we saw a few, I know at least one of those guys who's in the hospital. Yeah, I saw it in social media. Right? Saw it in social media. Bodybuilder I've met before, too. In person. Yeah, he's hospitalized right now. But not strength training. People who strength train are harder to kill. We have better immune systems. We have better bone density. In fact, I think what Robson pointed out is like, look, yes, we have an obesity epidemic. Yes, it's bad. Strength training itself offsets some of the negatives of it. In other words, I'm not saying it's healthy to be fat. Look, if you're 25% body fat as a man, 35% body fat as a woman, that's not healthy either. but the strength training will offset a lot of. I notice we didn't say all, because it isn't all. It's clearly not all. It will offset many of the negative health consequences of that. That's what the literature shows. So now, before people jump up and they throw the different things out there, now we've dispelled both extremes. You have no extremes to argue about. Because every time you bring this up, well, I know this really ripped guy who died of kidney failure. Yeah, no shit. I know a really ripped guy who his body produces no testosterone or thyroid hormone. Yeah, no shit. That's why you shouldn't get ripped, you dumbass. Like, it shouldn't be hard to figure out. Starving yourself down to emaciation isn't good for you. Right? This should be common sense, but people in the lifting world need to be told this. So we've dispelled that one. We've also dispelled, well, getting really fat, isn't good either. Okay? Now, you guys have no counter arguments against that, because we've already covered all the stuff that isn't strength training. Getting really fat isn't healthy. Getting emaciated, and that is what it is. If you are ripped, you are emaciated. You have starved yourself. Isn't healthy. And injecting $50,000 a year worth of anabolics into your body every year isn't healthy either. Okay? Now that all three of these moronic, idiotic extremes that only completely stupid, ignoramus jackasses bring up, and again, if any of those popped into your head, I want you to just accept that you're stupid. You are. If any of those three things are what popped in your head, you are not functioning at any sort of high cognitive ability. I'm sorry, that's the reality, but you need to, if you're anyone of that pop in your head, you probably don't need to argue with other people. Just realize you're not capable of it. It's just not within your ability. Go find something else to do. That's not your strong suit. We all have gifts in life. That isn't yours. Find what you're good at. That's not it. Being clever isn't it. So, we've dispelled all those. What do you have left? Strength training. Yeah, people who lift weights, they're harder to kill. We get cancer at lower rates, dramatically lower rates, diabetes at dramatically lower rates. Again, back over to those points. It doesn't cancel out those other negative health markers, right? If you do those other bad stuff that we just listed, you still have problems. Strength training will help offset some of it, though. It'll reduce the negatives of the others. It won't completely eliminate the negatives of the others. They still might kill you. But you have better odds. How's that for fair? It's harder to break the bones of people who strength train. That is, again, scientific fact. It's harder to break our bones. If your bones are harder to break, it's kind of harder for you to get killed during accidents or falling down or anything else. Can it still happen? Sure. You just have better odds. Again, people always, well, I know a person. Okay, well, fine. You might meet someone who's won the lottery, or someone who's been struck by lightning, or someone who was bitten by a shark. I can tell you right now, the majority of people will never be bitten by a shark or be struck by lightning. Is that statement untrue because you met that person? So drop the stupidity. Statistically, it's less likely to break bones. You're less likely to get hurt falling down, being injured in a car wreck, anything else. You have better survival odds. It's across the board. And it's the same thing when we're dealing with viruses. The flu, pneumonia, COVID, colds. Because all those things kill people. By the way, the common cold kills thousands and thousands of people every year, in case you were not aware of that. Within the last decade, we had a single flu season that killed 80,000 Americans. 80,000 Americans died to the regular old flu. One flu season a few years ago. Yeah, viruses are deadly. You fight viruses better if you're strength trained. You have a better immune system. Resistant to broken bones, resistant to cancer, resistant to diabetes. It's a really good idea. Really good idea if you care about your health and your tenacity to strength train. The benefits are limitless. It goes way beyond your bicep peaks or your razor sharp abs or any of that. It goes way beyond it. Benefits are enormous. Alright guys, so that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.